in this video, I just wanted to talk about, I guess, some of the more positive aspects of the COVID situation in China. And that's not because I'm some kind of paid shill or whatever. It's just because I've always found that in my entire life, it's been beneficial to me to stay positive. I don't think that there are many people out there sort of saying, oh, it's good to be negative. In my personal experience, negativity is just a really easy road to take, but it just doesn't lead anywhere. And if it's one thing that I guess I could teach the world, it is staying positive, because I think that that's something that fortunately I do have a positive mindset. So let's begin. One of the first things about what's happening exactly in Tianjin is that we have to kind of get up at 5 in the morning. And I noticed that my wife looks really healthy, there's nothing healthier than the morning sun. And it's kind of a good feeling to be getting up regularly at that time, actually. I have to say, it's quite surprising, but just serotonin, it's you get out in the sunshine, out in the fresh air at that early hour, and it's boom, just kind of waves of sunlight and serotonin and happiness are just flooding into you. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely a positive thing. The other thing is actually socially, interestingly, I just kind of, maybe it's all in my head, but I mean, there's going to be people who are going to say that, but my personal interactions with people, when I went to the Starbucks or I went to the 7-Eleven, I mean, these are the places I go, I go to Starbucks to get a coffee, or I go to 7-Eleven to get a coffee, or something like that. The interactions I'm having with people, it's hey, you got up at 5 in the morning too, I know you did. And there just seems to be this tension maybe that was there. I don't want to necessarily say that there was a tension, but I think every society has this thing of you go into a shop and it's kind of who is this guy? And then the customer, someone like me, is who is this guy? I hope he's polite to me. Everybody affects this kind of attitude. I think it's just natural. But in these times of crisis, that is gone. It's just hey man, I guess because I've obviously had those kinds of jobs before, I don't have that, but I just feel from the people in Starbucks or 7-Eleven or even on the street generally, I've been swimming in the river recently every day, and there's just this nice feeling of hey, we're all in this together. So yeah, I'd say that's a positive thing. And then also there's the other benefit of when people are lining up, they're not allowed to smoke. So a lot of these smokers and stuff, they had been habitually just they're up, they're smoking a few cigarettes at a time. But now it's they can't do that, habits are being broken. Friends of mine who are used to partying all night, they're saying, well, I can't drink tonight, I've got to get up for my COVID test. So there's been all these kinds of benefits as well. I also just briefly want to touch on some of the comments that Sapenza's been making lately about Australia being controlled by China or controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. I just think it's such a ridiculous thing to say. I mean, I don't think that China would ever seek to control Australia. I don't think that that would be something that they would ever try to do, even if they had the capacity to do it, which I don't believe that they do. I don't believe that it's necessarily easy to control anywhere in the world. But yeah, I just want to say to Sapenza, come to Australia, just go there and visit and check it out for yourself. Don't just believe different student activists' opinion about what they believe to be happening in Australia, because I don't think it's correct, And also I want to take a comment about the Drew Pavlou controversy in Sydney as well. His sign really was inappropriate, because at the end of the day, Mr. Xi, I mean, he's the head of state of the Chinese people. That's what he is. An equivalent would be, he said an equivalent would be Scott Morrison. Well, the equivalent would be Li Keqiang. I mean, he's the premier. I mean, if he had a poster that said something pejorative about Li Keqiang, that would be the equivalent. The equivalent for him would be to hold up a sign that talked about either the Governor General or the Queen herself. So until he kind of has the guts to start, holding up signs that tell Queen Elizabeth to, I guess exhume her mother and fuck her. I mean, what a revolting sign that would be. And I'm sure that somebody in some British community in Australia, whether that be Brighton Beach or St Kilda, would take offence to that. So what he's done there is like just basically stir up hatred and stir up division, and you know, he might say that it's none of my business, but guess what? You know, like my grandparents went to the university that he went to, and they were also student activists, but they didn't have a huge rap sheet or an enormous university document like detailing all of the bizarre antisocial behaviors that they ever did, you know. So I'm not going to accept the fact that it's none of my business or whatever, because I do have a relationship to that university, and one of my uncles also attended that university as well. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, you know. So I've touched on a couple of different things, but it's always good to stay positive. And whether you're in China or you're in wherever you are, try to stay positive, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.